Hello everybody. We have a game with the black pieces against Step by 11. Rated Provisional 1368. He hits us with the London. So I'm going to hit him with c5, attacking the dark squares immediately, since he brought his bishop out so early. And now he protects his pawn chain. Fine. I'm going to take that pawn chain. I'm going to take that pawn. He takes with the queen, which makes little sense to me. I get to develop for free, I think. Now he has no pawn center. The pawn that he should have recaptured with, that should be on d4, controlling the center, is no longer controlling the center. So I get to hit the knight with the queen with tempo, and then the knight also supports my center. Hit the bishop with tempo. So I don't like the way he recaptured. The whole point of putting these pawns here in the London is to recapture with a pawn. But anyway, he goes back. It's our turn. What do we want to do? Potentially he can attack our dark square like this. So we're going to defend and also set a trap. This is from the French. He loses the queen. It applies in many different positions you see, so just remember the theme and you apply it whenever you see it, like I did here. It also is a developing move that looks at the center, defends this center preemptively against the pressure he's going to put, and contains the trick. So again, a lot of things packed into one, deep in the move, and the game's over. So this provisional guy resigns, and we go again. We have Spencer, another d4 player, rated 1500. He hits us with the Queen's Gambit this time. Let's meet him with the Slav defense. He develops the knight. On the king's side, we do the same thing and support the center. He now brings out the bishop, pretty early I think. Puts pressure on the diagonal. Vacates the b pawn, so queen b6 idea is interesting. However, wait a second. If I go here, and he goes queen b3, and I go queen b6, I guess, well, if he takes and I take, then he takes and I take, I have the weird pawns, but that doesn't mean it's bad. It's also unnecessary. I'm just going to throw an a6 so I don't have to calculate, because a6 always stops queen b3 ideas, because whenever he plays it, you could just play b5 because a6 protects it. So he develops his knight, and now we're back in just normal territory. Let's just create this Slav pawn structure, and we could just develop. No reason to do fancy stuff. Okay, so now we developed our pieces. We have our dark square bishop. Bishop b4 is not a pin, so let's keep it pretty modest. Go to e7. See what he does? I mean, this is just a typical position. You're going to get stuff like this a lot in the Slav. Maybe he wants to hunt our bishop. He's also giving room for his own bishop. I'd like to keep it. So I'm going to, before castling, I'm going to play h6 like what he did. Just so if he hunts it, I can keep it on this nice diagonal. And he'll have to trade his bishop for it if he wants it. But let's see. Maybe he'll push c5. A lot of players eventually push c5 and go knight a4, knight b6. And this is how they play on the queen side against your dark square weaknesses you created. So that's interesting. And here we go. Good timing by my opponent. So let's see. When they do this, you consider if you can break down the pawn chain, first of all. You look at b6 and you figure, oh, b4 is coming. Then you'll go a5, but a3 is coming. Takes, takes. Takes, takes. And what was really the point of any of that anyway? So maybe, and e5 is not a break that looks like you're going to get anytime soon. So let's try to play actively on the king side some other way to compensate for what he's going to be doing on the queen side so they don't get slowly crushed and lose the game, right? So first of all, I'm going to throw in a free space gaining improving move. Because I've decided that he closed the center, there's no capture possible, and he's going to be expanding on the queen side, I kind of want to take aggressive action quickly on the king side, or in the center if possible. The center, you're not going to push as I mentioned, but you can put a piece here and cause disruptions. So he retreats the bishop. If you keep pushing, that's a little too much, a little too far, a little overextended. You can't assume he's going to take and let you hop a piece in because that's not what's going to happen. I mean, maybe he will, but maybe he'll... What else can he do? If he moves his knight to the side and hits your bishop, I guess you could take. He gets a bishop. You take again. He gets your pawn. Wait, does it work? It looks so loose. If he goes somewhere else, like, I don't know, let's just say here or here, and I take... Yeah, I guess this hook is really annoying for him. And I didn't castle. So although I did want to disrupt him, gain space, my intention was knight e4 at first. But because he has this hook, I don't really see how he meets it because it hits two things at once. And if he does take, which he might feel like he has to, then I guess we do get the knight in. Yeah, okay. So just without calculating, it looked a bit loose after knight h4. But if you do calculate, it's actually good. So the thing is, my bishop is defended. Like if my bishop was loose, that's what was running through my head. But it is defended, so he does take, and I think we should improve our knight, opening up a lot of pieces, opening up the water, unclogging the hose. We're also hitting his strongest piece, which is bearing down in our position. I will take that guy. If he wants to not save it, he has to waste turns, but then maybe we can attack. So he makes a semi-improving move. I guess he wants to bring the bishop back or let's do something. I feel like I should take this. It might help his defenses, but kind of hard not to take that, right? Yeah, that's a super strong piece, I guess. That's his strongest minor piece. Let me take that. Okay, he goes here with the knight. The G file's open. He could probably defend and stuff, but... Okay, so now my knight's out of play, but the thing is, he took with the knight. What's the drawback? Undefends the center. So now e5 pawn break, which is desirable because he's facing this way, is possible. So I think if you waste a turn with like rook g1 or something, he could come back, or at the very least play f4 to make sure it doesn't come soon. So let's play it now. And now we're never going to get squeezed by the c5 move because once you get in e5, it freezes and makes sure you have ample space. You don't have to worry about it. And you don't have to try to break down the chain from the front ever again. So he tries to improve a piece and aim at the king. I see two moves without calculating. But my e-pawn, I feel like e4 closes down the center, reinforcing my kingside attack, denying his knight a position. cutting the board in half. His rook looks dumb. I like it. Let's go. Now that I stabilize the center, and this is just a dream in his dream world, because that's going to take forever. Now we have some bishop in, some knight in, some queen to g5. If I can get that in, would be very nice. With rook g8, my king is safe because the position's closed. I'm not up material, but I'm crushing this guy positionally or strategically. What's the difference, right? Wait, what? He sacks a piece for this, but I can block as well as even move my king up. But let's get the turn back because then we can develop. He has no further checks, so why is your queen here? You're just going to get harassed by many minor pieces. That's why e4 is such a good move, because it really cuts the board. And then you feel like, oh, I'm getting in anyway, but you're not. It's worse because now you're just trapped, kind of. And best move might be to go to back even. So he stays in line of my pieces. Rook g8 discovery, knight improvement. All this looks good for me, bad for him. Even h5, denying the knight from coming back in the game. I think I'm going to go with that one, actually. I'm going to go with that one because now his knight can't come in forward. He gives a check, but I mean, this guy loves improving my pieces. I guess I'll go with the knight because it can't go to e5. I'm making sure he can't infiltrate, right? Deeper. And all he's doing is letting me rearrange my stuff. Now my king is super safe with 3 minors like this. It's like, good luck approaching it with anything other than a pawn. Because, you know, pawns aren't scared of minor pieces because they're worth less, so they can attack. But anything else that tries to approach this is going to get stomped. And so his position is just terrible, like really bad. Probably way worse than you guys think it is. Totally losing. Crushed. Okay. So he retreats the knight because he sees no future. So now he's trying to get one square. We can take away that square while making progress. But then he'll go back, you'll say, and he gets this square. Yeah, but we got progress for free and his position's the exact same. We could even launch the pawn up further. So it's definitely possible. We could also improve our other pieces. We can improve our rook. But I'm going to throw the pawn up. Even if I get rid of my h-pawn, it opens my rook, you know, severely, which is strong. Now he goes knight back, but like I said, we got in free moves. We're happy to see that. So what's next? His knight could go here. We could still stop it with a developing move, queen d7, funnily enough. Okay. We'll develop our queen, connect our rooks. The queen, I mean, it couldn't go to c7, which is where I would have put it otherwise, probably, because his queen stares at it. So he hangs the piece. The knight is pinned, but not if the queen takes, right? Then the knight is unpinned. So he resigns. Let's go over the game. So I don't know how many of you play the Slav. It's a decent setup, but I mean, not decent. It's obviously solid. You know, up to super GMs and stuff, they play it perfectly well. But as a club player, you might find yourself in problems with the c5 pawn push. But that's how you learn how to play openings, right? You got to get crushed a couple times. So anyway, he develops, we develop, and we're just protecting. I'm protecting the light squares. He develops his bishop, and now maybe you can bring the bishop out. Maybe you can't. I feel like it's a little too early because of queen b3. And maybe there's concrete lines and stuff, but who cares? I don't want to deal with this. So instead, I just go a6 in the style of Chebanenko Slav. That way, once you bring your bishop out, if he ever goes here, like after takes here, you just go b5, you have nothing hanging. So it's an even game, more or less, practically speaking, and we're ready to develop. Once you get this a6 pawn in, you no longer have to make any unnecessary moves for a really long time. or unnecessary looking moves. This is a helpful move because also once he takes, it controls the b5 square from his minor pieces. Um, Plus a6 is always useful as black. You could even start the game with it, which sounds weird, but... So now we develop in center. Now that we have our a6 move in, important. Center and development. This is the Slav setup. It's basically the London, but for black. And when you're black, you're trying not to get crushed and stabilized, so it makes sense. When you're white, it doesn't make sense because you have the option of doing what this guy did and going pawn to c4. So anyway, it's a completely even game, playable by both sides. We develop in center. Develop, king safety. Now I throw in this more advanced move because if I just castle and he hits my bishop, I mean, I can't really save it. He's going to get it for the knight. And if I give it up, I'd rather give it up for this bishop. So I make a little space. It also takes away the square prophylaxis, gives my king a luft. Useful. So I wonder what the best move is the second he pushes. Because once he pushes, you have to understand it changes the game because there's no more center captures in and out. And so it locks things up and allows you to do more stuff on the flanks. And so whatever the best move was before, it definitely is not now. So your train of thinking has to change. So there's 4 that are all the same. Castles, which makes sense. G5, which makes sense. Knight H7, which probably goes for F6 and something. Or maybe F6, G5, who knows. Knight E4, which is also another move. Okay, so all this stuff makes sense. I played the aggressive one. He goes back. And now, I was wondering about this. So you could just support it with a rook, but G4 immediately is the best move. Yeah, G4 and Rook G8 make the most sense. So we play G4. He takes, we take, and he should try to save the bishop, they're saying. Go here. That way we can't harass it with a pawn easily. I wonder if F6 is E5 is a plan there, though. If we turn the engine on, what happens after F6? Completely losing because your diagonal is weak. Yeah. Oh, and after knight h4, your knight's hanging, so it's just too loose. Okay, that's good to know. So he didn't try that. He moves his rook, which kind of doesn't do anything. We take the bishop because it's the strongest piece. Now we played an inaccuracy, but I love this move. I don't get it. They want rook g8 first, but I really don't see how e5 isn't just the best move. So let's play that. And that's it. Now, the engine says black is slightly better, like minus 0.2. So for practical purposes, let's say it's even equal. However, black has easy stuff to play for, obvious on the king side. Once I close it, white should get crushed if he lets that happen. Because then he really has nothing to play for. He's just waiting to get attacked. So the second I close, it's minus 0.3. Oh, he gave up the bishop, so that was dumb. But let's say he does something normal, like he goes back. Hold on, let's turn off the engine. He goes back. I can't really defend the bishop the way you kind of want. If you take, you bring his queen in. If you move, maybe move actually. I go here. And then I was going to push the pawn, put the knight in, and then keep attacking him with rooks. And he's eventually going to crumble under the pressure. Every player will. I'm surprised it doesn't give such a big advantage though. I mean, I guess it's not forced. It's like the king's Indian. You have the attack on the king. It's not like you're auto winning, but you kind of are. Still though, I'd expect some type of advantage. I guess move by move, it's saying white can hold on, but Practically speaking, there's no way. I mean, he gave up his bishop, which was dumb. I really would have liked to see the game continue otherwise, to see how it plays out so I could show you what I'm talking about with human moves, because the engine's always going to find some dumb stuff. Okay, so he just sacks a piece for no reason to get his queen in, and the position is just -4 now. I mean, why would you just give up your bishop? Just play a normal game. So anyway, we just improve for free. Improve, force move, improve prophylaxis, develop a piece, prophylaxis, second piece hangs, that's the game. So it was a pretty easy game. You just create the Slav setup. This is kind of like the starting position from black. If he didn't castle, sometimes you put your bishop here to pin. If he did castle, you can go to e7. So I guess this is more this, well, if he doesn't play this, let's say he does something else, and you castle, this is also another like kind of starting position that you're going to get a lot. And then some players will take, some players will push. Some players will play a3, b4, a4. It's interesting, but you get to be aggressive on the king side while they get aggressive on the queen side, so it's kind of nice in that way. Two inaccuracies, 95%, but overall very solid game. I'm just surprised that here it just says we're slightly better instead of like, I know we're not up anything, but I still expect like a -0.7. You know, not a pawn, but kind of positionally, like where the engine will say 0.7, -0.7, but which would mean in human terms it's like -2 to play because it's so hard to play. But here it's saying for the engine it's even, which means that for a human I feel like then it's, you know, -1. Somewhat hard to play. I have a weird calibration system as you can see, but it makes sense in my head. Anyway, Slav defense game. I found it hard to play when I was like 13, 1400. If you learn a little more of the ideas, it'll be easier to play at the higher ranks, where you will get crushed a lot. So, anyway, good luck in your chess. Goodbye.